Your mind gets clogged while preparing and writing an essay. Are you struggling to cross 80 marks in an essay? What does it take to make your score to reach more than 140 in essay? Let us understand this in this video. Hello everyone, this is Venkatesh and we will discuss about how to prepare and write a wonderful essay in UPSC Civil Services exam. You see, let me help you to understand how to do that. Before we discuss that, often the thing which I observe among the students is they don't try to give priority towards a essay paper. So you need to understand why essay paper. What should be the significance? You see here, first of all, we all know that it is around costing 250 marks. So it is almost at par with your GS paper, right? 250 marks paper, and that too, this is a highly rewarding paper. A highly rewarding paper. Imagine you scoring around 140 to 160 marks. This should be your target. Of course, not necessarily that 160 is the deadline, but usually that should be your target for your range of marks. So, definitely, in terms of time taken, for other subjects and this, it is highly also, you will be saving so much amount of time, input output ratio. So it is having a huge cost benefit analysis. And what is my favorite, why essay paper? See, after your prelims exam, among your mains and interview, if there is one thing which will help you to reflect your personality in your answer writing copies, it is essay ethics. Of course, certain extent of GS, my priority is you wanted to showcase your true personality in the answers. I would discuss that definitely essay would come across, ethics would come across, your GS and optional would come later on. Of course, we also have a personality test as an interview. 20 to 40 minutes of interview cannot determine completely about what you are as a person. So you wanted to show your personality to the examiner. I think that this is the best opportunity. So, I want you to build your personality, develop some skills needed for writing a wonderful essay answer, and automatically getting rewards in terms of a good score. And definitely, these things are a game changer for your final result. So, definitely, these are all very, very important to me. And also, see, there is a momentum which you will gain when you write your when you write your essay paper very well. The momentum would be really good. Why? Because usually on a Friday you tend to have the essay exam, and then Saturday and Sunday happens to be your GS papers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So definitely that exam, it will be acting as a momentum for you. So these are all the advantages. So definitely, once you crack the code of you how to write an essay, my dear, it is also very easy to flow. This is a very, very important point for you to remember. Then, you see, before we talk about then, there is one more thing I would like to tell you. What do common mistakes which you all people tend to do while writing an essay? आजकल के एसेस ना, देर आर ऑल फिलोसॉफिकल एसेस, कोटेशन बेस्ड एसेस. For philosophical and quotation, your GS approach won't work. And one of the common mistake you tend to do is the amount of time you put it into your essay, into your ethics, into your GS and optional, you don't give enough time for essay. So in the process, naturally what you do is you try to see essay extension of GS. This is very, very wrong thing to do. UPSC demands certain skills out of an essay which are very different from GS. They're not testing just your thinking here. They're not testing your knowledge alone here. They're testing more about thinking, your way of presentation, and so many aspects. We will discuss that. What are the testing, right? So definitely, the one common mistake is GS and ethics are sorry, why I'm saying ethics. GS and essay are very, very different. Okay, the nature of the approach of essay should be very different. That should be a very, very important thing. Another important thing is, which I tend to find is, there is a so much amount of fear, and because of this fear, you don't prepare essay very well. I want you guys to prepare about essay. How can you prepare? There are certain things which you can do. What you can do? Say, for example, a certain aspect of skilling which is needed, a certain aspect of observations which is needed along with your regular preparation. It is not like you need to do this book or do Renan Martin, improve your grammar. No, 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 no. Those are all are later on other aspects. You all read wonderful books about your optional, about your GS, you read newspapers, you tend to follow so many podcasts, so many information you try to gather, you listen, you read. I wanted you to utilize this itself knowledge in terms of your preparation. Okay. Also, if you have a very unique hobby, you have your personality where there is a life beyond UPSC, that actually helps a lot in terms of essay. And that is your core strength point. Remember that, right? So, this should be there. And another aspect which I tend to do is, which I have seen in the students in terms of your essay preparation is, your mind gets clogged. You don't know what to write. And that is what we can call it as, it is a perfect example of what we call it as writer's block, no practice. You don't practice writing. See, putting down your thoughts in a chronological fashion in an order, it is not so easy. What are you thinking, what is there in your brain, to write it on a paper and to see the flow, it needs practice. That's what I tend to say. You think, you collect the data, and you organize in a proper flow. Most of you don't think. And another thing which I have found in the recent era is the use of ChatGPT and everything. Everything you wanted to use with ChatGPT. Everything you wanted to use AI. Where are you developing your thinking skills? Tomorrow in the exam, you don't have ChatGPT. What will you do? So one of the things which I observed is lack of practice. Lack of practice of writing answers. Right? These are the most mistakes we do. Extension of GS, lack of preparation and all. And there is another common mistake you tend to assume is, I will prepare after prelims. Late start to preparation. You prepare after prelims. Do you really think that you have the time to write an essay, understand an essay, and also, what do you say, to learn the mistakes out of the essay? No. See, the best time for preparation of an essay is the days leading to the prelims and the last 8 months before the prelims exam. Why? Because that is when, at the back of your mind, the things which you study, learn and all, you can inculcate as part of your brain of what to write and what not to write. So definitely, once you gain that pulse, it is very easy to move forward. That is very, very important. And then some of you, what you do is, another mistake which I have also observed is, you write, but are you evaluating? Are you getting proper feedback? Often people struggle in that also. One of the reasons why I wanted to start a course about this is, about an essay, is the lack of evaluation and feedback of what you need to do. This is also the common mistakes which I tend to find. Right. With these aspects into considerations, understand now what is UPSC expecting out of an essay. You go and check the syllabus. I have observed in the UPSC essay syllabus that they have written that candidates may be required to write essays on multiple topics. multiple topics, you have 2 essays. They will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay, closely to the subject of essay. The closely to the subject of essay, and in the process, they are asking you to arrange your ideas, arrange ideas in an orderly fashion, in an orderly fashion, right? Arrange your ideas in an orderly fashion and to write concisely, write concisely. Credit will be given for effective and exact expression. Effective and exact expression. You see, while you write a 150 word as answer for your GS papers and optionals, 250 words and all, the approach, the examples and all which being asked you to follow are the same things which you are not supposed to follow here. They are asking you write concisely. Often your examples in your in which you write in your essays, they are not a additional point. You are substantiating what you have told in the just the paragraph above it. So the bullets, the diagrams, the examples alone will not fetch you marks in essay. Please remember that. These are must and should, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is not write examples. Occasionally you can write examples, but those examples are part and parcel of what you are already telling. You are not telling an additional point. That is the difference. Okay. So it will not be counted as an additional diversity. It is 1A, 1B, not 1, 2, 3, 4. If you are telling you 4 points, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It is within the one additional point. Right? That is what is the thing. Then further, the what I expect out of you to write about is you see, based on this writing concisely, effective and exact expression, arranging ideas in an orderly way and all, based on that, that's what UPSC is expecting, right? In that, you have to incorporate these things while you write your answers. For example, as you focus on a topic, whatever the topic you have chosen in your essay, you try to develop some in the writing answers interlinkages. One of the things which I try to I like very much in terms of essay is, script writing. Imagine you are a writer. Imagine you are watching a wonderful movie. You are reading through a novel. The way they write and read, the way they write that novel, the thinking behind that, the movies and all. Do you remember in some of the movies and all, we all have this script aspect. What? Where they wanted to show you what if this happened, and in that way they tend to show in altogether a new method of life which possibly could be. So this is what I call it as the script writing. So you have to have some kind of an imagination, right? And that imagination, and you are showcasing such kind of skills with wonderful interlinkages, your essay looks really good. For example, uh, there is a topic. In the topic, what you might say is you can take 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, Raju or whoever, Venkatesh, has done this so far. So because of these things, he achieved this. Scenario B, you can talk about another person, say they did not do, so they could not get that desired results. And for that person to turn into the shoes of this person and try to be successful, these are what you need to do. You can tell that. So like that, there are some storytellings with script writing which you can practice. Mind you, my dear friends, the ones which you practice right now, the ones which you practice as part of your preparation are what you can replicate in the mains answers. You don't practice now, you can't replicate. As simple as that. Okay. So definitely, I want these interlinkages, and in the process, I want very much clarity. Clarity should be there. You cannot compromise on clarity. And whatever you say, there has to be good depth about it. And these are all reflections of your writing skills, reflections of your reading skills, reflections of your observation skills, or what overall we can say these are all reflections of critical thinking. So, what is happening in education in our country? What is happening with respect to politics? What is happening with respect to science and technology? These are all observations which you can showcase as part of your clarity and depth. And the same thing, how well are you able to represent in variety of dimensions, right? Dimensions matter a lot. Your multi-dimensional approach is a very well developed aspect which you do. For example, seeing the same thing socially, economically, politically, and everything are these kind of aspect, right? So when you all these things are there, then you worry about language. And shall I tell you one more thing? Usually, by the time you complete a holistic preparation of your mains, including your optional, your general studies, and everything, actually, in the process, your language and grammar skills would be naturally improving itself. Okay, so please do remember that aspect. Okay, so that is what I wanted you guys to focus upon, right? This is what are the things which I expect you to focus and try to do that. With that aspect, once you take an essay, as you brainstorm, what are the methods of introduction you have? There are some types of introductions you can do, 5, 6 varieties. You can practice them. As you practice in the exam, decoding the topic, brainstorming becomes very easy, right? So once you practice, once you identify what is the core demand, once you identify that demand and how to interlink and connect, you can do this very well, right? So whole idea is about once you understand the methods of writing and getting that, the way you understand about a certain topic, about an essay, the way you interpret, right? The way you interpret, the way you explain these things, sometimes substantiate, but as you explain, substantiate, how you are building the diversity within your thoughts, within your essay topics, right? And do you have a counter argument to it? It's not necessarily that you need to believe that. Counter argument, you can focus on all these things and then you can conclude your essay. Of course, what is the method of writing an essay? What is the body? What is the intro? What is the conclusion? We will discuss that by taking a certain example. But before that, you need to have these aspects ready with you. And one simple method to prepare for an exam for essay, I will tell you. You take 1 to 2 essays per month maximum for the next 6 to 8 months. Okay, at least you try to write 8 essays. Okay, if you are writing sometimes 2 essays, you can commit even across 5 months, 4 months, right? At least, or one essay until say even April. It doesn't matter because hardly you write 45 minutes, you hardly write for 2 to 3 hours. So for these things, you have to practice these kind of things over a period of 15 days, 20 days, so that you can improve on the skills which you need. So my dear, I would say that personality is what is needed in essays. For that personality, you need to focus on multiple things. And if you do that, definitely you would be achieving the results. I will take an example and a sample essay, and I will try to help you in terms of how to write that so that you can utilize that and use this opportunity to learn essays. That's it for today, friends. Thank you.